Infinite Fusion, the game with more than 200,000 new mons, has quickly become my favorite Pokemon game. So after many playthroughs, it's time to switch it up. It's time to put some extra rules on top of these runs. It's time to enter dad mode and crush the competition. Can we beat a Pokemon Infinite Fusion hardcore Nuzlocke when only allowed to use starter Pokemon? No overleveling, no healing in battle, deaths are permanent, etc, etc. You know the drill by now. Bouncing a team with limited typings like this will be tricky, but hopefully with a solid plan, I'm sure nothing could go wrong. Right? Fingers crossed, let's begin. As always, we start our run by naming ourselves Daddy, immediately cucking any opponent we must face. We do have to think for a moment about what our rival's name will be though. I take a second to think about it, but quickly come to our conclusion. If there is one thing that every starter fan hates, is jealous of, is induced into a blind rage by on Twitter, it's the idea of Game Freak's obsessive love and favoritism of Charizard. So we come to starter choosing time once more, and this is a big one. The starter for a starter only run. Between the three choices, there's only one true correct answer though. I'm gonna go with my heart and pick up this little bulby boy. We are dad, so we name our starter Child and run off to officially begin the Nuzlocke. On our way to Viridian, we run into our first encounter, a Ditto. Now, how will these encounters work, you ask? Well, pretty simply, we've taken every starter in the game and added a crap ton of copies to our PC. Each time we get a new encounter, we'll fuse it with the next starter in the Pokedex. So our encounters before the first gym end up being Bulbasaur Ditto, Slugma Squirtle, Cleffa Charmander, and Litwick Eevee. We get to Brock without much to note, other than getting a chuckle out of seeing this very long Phoebus. Brock, the run's first challenge. We bring Slugtull and Child to the battle. Brock leads with a Hoppip Togepi, and we lead Slugtull. Hoppy is easily cleaned up by two Embers. Bastiodon Sentret is Brock's ace, who goes down without much effort to 3 water guns. Brock may be rock hard, but damn it, we're harder. Badge number 1 is ours. We head east and grab our next encounter, which is a Cottony. It gets fused with Pikachu to make the run's most adorable creature yet. The Eevee and Pikachu fusions that we run into are going to be critical to this run, as they will be one of the few ways we can grab team members that aren't just grass, water, or fire types over and over again. With that in mind, having a grass type as this encounter is a bit rough, but we've got plenty of time to expand the team. And besides, as mentioned earlier, this thing is absolutely fucking adorable, so we're more than happy to sacrifice some team balance to bring it along for the ride. We bash our way through the trainers of Route 3 and reach Mount Moon without breaking a sweat. We listen to Nurse Joy whine and whine about the terrace in Mount Moon, then rush to the Pokemon Center the moment that she stops yapping. Our next encounter is waiting for us, purchased for a measly $500 from this guy over here. It turns out to be a Pichu, and it's Chikorita's turn to fuse. So we get what is basically a worse version of the encounter that we just got. Great, that kind of sucks. But you know what? We chuck it in the box and grab our Mount Moon encounter, which is a Slugma Poliwag. We throw out the Slugma half and we keep the Poliwag, which we then fuse with Cyndaquil. It gives us this monstrosity. We reluctantly add it to the squad and tackle Mount Moon. Other than our new monstrosity gaining a Mohawk, nothing too eventful happens in Mount Moon. We destroy every trainer in sight and crush the small homegrown terrace movement on the way out the door. A new encounter on Route 4 is now available, and we're gifted a fantastic find, a Trapinch. We scoop it up and run to the Pokemon Center to fuse it with a starter. The next starter up is Totodile, which is a perfect match for Trapinch. The finished product is an adorable but powerful water ground type that we instantly add to the team, replacing that monstrosity that we were complaining about earlier. Next challenge up is the Nugget Bridge rival fight. We get our whole team to level 16 to prep for the fight and evolve Slugtull and Clefmander in the process. We even use 2 Moonstones that we found in Mount Moon to evolve Clefmelian and to evolve Litvee, whose evolved forms both look awesome. This all gives us a massive power boost, and we approach the rival fight with the confidence of an old man in a YMCA changing room. Rival Charizard leads Pawniard, and we lead Clefmelion. A single fire pledge is an easy enough KO. Bonsly Pikachu is out next, and Clefmelion wants absolutely none of that. We switch to Toto Inch, who avoids a rock throw for a free switch. We are hit by the rock throw the next turn, but we quickly KO back with a stab bulldoze. The tiny penile-shaped creature falls to the ground, and Squirtmelion comes out in his place. It hits us with a crit bite, but we avoid the flinch and take it into the red with another bulldoze. Next turn, we live another bite and pick up the KO. Ekdos is the rival's final mon, and we bring out Litreon to take it on. We get paralyzed by a glare, but hit back with a Will-O-Wisp, ruining any plan this thing had to do damage to us. We chip it down with Confusion and Thief and defeat our rival Charizard. He gets a tad bit salty about losing, but you kind of expect that from Charizard fanboys, so we're not surprised. He runs off, and we continue across Nugget Bridge. After defeating the bridge's trainers, we gain access to yet another encounter and run into a Slack-Off. I start seeing absolute dollar signs, as fusing a Slacking in order to lose its truant ability is just a one-way ticket to power. We catch the Slack-Off and fuse it with the next starter in line, Trico. Normal grass isn't exactly a terribly powerful typing, but a slacking Sceptile fusion definitely is. We add him to the party and say goodbye to our other grass normal type, our starter Child. At least this way he'll survive until the end of the run. We head east to Bill's house, cleaning up the remaining trainers along the way and evolving both Toto Inch and Treekoth along the way as well. They're both pretty derpy looking, but I'm always down with more power regardless of how ugly. We get to Bill's house and bully him for being a furry until he gives us an SSN ticket. We level up the boys and girls in the party to the level cap of 22, evolving Slackoth Grovyle in doing so. We head back to town, head to the gym, and prepare to take on Misty. Oh, Misty, the queen of hentai herself. I will never stop making this joke at your expense. We're given 2 mons to face her with, so we bring Cotton Chew and Growroth. She leads with Skiploom Totodile, and we lead Cotton Chew. We do about a third damage with an Electro Ball and get hit back with a Scary Face. We take the next turn to hit a Thunder Wave and use that to get a switch into Growroth. We still take a bite on the switch, but we're able to hit 3 Fury Cutters in a row for the KO. Drifblim Poliwag is Misty's ace, who does resist the next Fury Cutter. We get hit with a Body Slam back, and we repeat that process the next turn, putting Drigwag into the red. We do, however, get paralyzed from the second Body Slam, so we switch back to Cotton Chew. We get hit hard on the switch, but are able to outspeed the following turn to KO with an Electro Ball. The fight went relatively smoothly, but a single Hax roll could have spelled our demise there. The Queen of Hentai decided to play hard to get this time around, but we still penetrated her defenses at the end of the day. Badge number 2 belongs to us. We head south to take on a few trainers and pick up our next encounter. It is a Magnemite Zubat. We snatch it up, keep the Magnemite half, and fuse it with our next starter up, which is Torchic. We leave it in the box for now, but it's certainly a powerful lad that could be used in the future. Could be a little bit of foreshadowing. So, through the tunnel and off to Vermilion City we go. On the other side, we search the grass and find a Zubat Kirlia as an encounter. I am very excited to see what this thing turns into, so we run all the way back to Cerulean, take the Kirlia half, and fuse it with Mudkip. I was excited at first. Now I'm just kind of disturbed. So disturbed that we don't even add it to the party. So back through the tunnel we go once more. We defeat every trainer we can on the way to town and run to grab the old rod for yet another encounter. It ends up being a Piplup, yet another starter. We scoop it up and fuse it with Turtwig. The result isn't quite as cute as normal Piplup, but I can accept this little guy. We have 2 encounters left for this area before the gym, so we grab Yanmask Chimchar, who looks incredible by the way, and Shroomish Piplup, who is the cutest thing on planet Earth. Although we don't make any changes to the team, we're looking at some definite potential power as backup in the PC that we can possibly change around as mons evolve and typings start changing. With everything in order, we finally board the SS And. The Pokeboat gave us no real cause for alarm this time around, generally due to the absolute carrying power of Stab Slash from the mighty Growroth. The boat does gift us with an incredible sight, however, in the form of this Porygon Jigglypuff. Look how autistic he looks! He is uncomfortable with public places. I love him. We make it through every trainer with ease and proceed to take on our rival. Rival Charizard leads with Poliwhirl Goldeen, and we lead with the ever-powerful Growroth. A single Leaf Blade is enough to take Polydine down. Slowpoke Jinx is up next, who also dies to a single blade. The rival sends out Teddy Ursa Kecleon, who is the first to survive a Leaf Blade, but we barely feel its counterattack and take it out on the following turn. Last but not least, Warmeleon hits the field. Growroth might be mighty, but he wants none of that, so we swap to Croca-Inch. We get hit by a Scary Face and a Fire Fang before getting a one-hit KO with Bulldoze. Rival Charizard was out here looking like a Charmander in this fight. He tucks his flaming tail between his legs and runs off like a little bitch. We then enter the Feely Man's room, touch the full-grown man with our 10-year-old hands, and get out of there as fast as we can. Next up is Surge. Surge leads with Rotom Kirlia, and we lead, as per usual, the mighty Growroth. We hit a Leaf Blade and it crits, picking up the kill. Voltorb Cottony is next, and 2 slashes plus 11 HP are enough to buy us another kill. Last but certainly not least is Surge's ace, Electivire Mr. Mime. We're fairly certain we won't one-shot this thing, so we go for a yawn. It sets up a light screen, so we stay in and just spam Leaf Blades at it. We take a bit of chip, but ultimately secure another easy KO. It seems like every time we run this game, Surge gets easier. Like every other aging man in the world, he's slowly losing his mental capacity as time goes on. Get fucked, boomer. Badge number 3 is ours. Before leaving town to head back to Cerulean, we have a couple of errands to run. We grab a Sunstone from this lady in Vermilion and use it to evolve our Cottonchew into Whimsachew. He just keeps getting fluffier, and we just keep getting more excited about it. We also give this guy in the hotel an old boot, which he trades us for a Magikarp. Next starter up for fusion is Charmander, and the future Charizard Gyarados combo is so powerful, I can already feel its aura. We put it in our party, replacing Slug Turtle. We head back north, then take the route east towards Rock Tunnel. Nothing too crucial to report for our adventure here, but we do pick up Vulpix, Pidgey, Ferroseed, and Ledyba along the way as encounters. All the fusions turn out looking decent, but this Ledyba Cyndaquil goes especially hard for absolutely no reason. Traveling through the tunnel itself is also fairly dull, other than our Charmander Magikarp evolving twice, turning into this absolute girthy ass unit known as Chardos. We also check the secret area for a free encounter, which ends up being another Ferroseed, this time fusing with Totodile, making a pretty cool metal Totodile. We exit the cave generally unscathed and arrive in Lavender Town, prepared for another fight with rival Charizard and yet another encounter. We decide to grab the new Pokemon first, so we head west and run into a Nidoran. Fusing it with Trico gives us this thing. It's not inherently offensive or anything, but I hate it. I hate it so much. I wish it didn't exist. I'm just being honest. So we dump it in the box, never to be seen again, and grind up all our boys and girls against some trainers to get ready for the rival fight. Croco-Inch evolves in the process, giving us, well, basically the same dude we had before. You know, a couple extra teeth, a change of eye color. You know what though? It's more powerful, and that's what we're here for. To crush our enemies, see them driven before us, and to hear the lamentations of their women. And with that in mind, we decide to head to Celadon a little early in search of even more power. We arrive in the big city and hit up the department store to grab some TMs and some evolution stones for the future. My instinct is to seek power, obviously, and to evolve whoever I can right now. But a quick little Bulbapedia check reminds us that we should hold out for a few more levels to gain some better moves before, getting a little too overexcited and missing out on them. So we destroy every enemy available to us, hear the lamentations of said enemy's women, and head back to the Pokemon Tower, catching an Incada and fusing it on the way. We are now quite confident in our leveled up team's ability to hear even more of those aforementioned sweet lamentations. We lock eyes with our rival, and the fight is on. Rival Charizard leads with Pupitar Quilava, and we lead with the mighty power of Growroth. Now, I would never insinuate that Growroth isn't incredibly mighty and incredibly powerful, but he's really not interested in this matchup, so we make the switch to Chardos. Pupilava hits us with a crit rock slide though, almost killing Chardos. We swap again, this time to Farah Inch, and take a scary face on the switch instead. We get flinched by rock slide and take a flame wheel, but one shot it back with bulldoze. A little too close for comfort. Staryu Coughing is out next. We eat up a sludge and we go for another bulldoze. However, it's a wasted turn due to levitate. We're hit with a bubble beam, taking us down to just above half, and we strike back with a crunch, bringing Starfing to just above the red. A second crunch the following turn takes him out. Our rival's Ace Warmeleon is next. We resist both stab moves, so we stay in and we go for Rock Slide. We live a bite, avoid a flinch, and get the one-hit KO. Blaziken Aggron is his last Mon, and this thing, it scares the shit out of me. I'm petrified. It's spooky. We stay in, but get flinched by an Iron Head. We take a risk and stay in to try again, as absolutely nothing on this team wants to take a stab move from this thing. We outspeed and hit a bulldoze, which would have one shot, but it did have sturdy. Lucky for us, it goes for roar, which forces in Litreon. It heals the next turn, but we spam hex at it until it goes down. This rival fight was certainly tougher than the last. The little baby Charmander seems to have evolved into Charmeleon finally, but it still doesn't beat our thick-ass team of good boys and girls. Rival Charizard is salty about his loss, as is tradition, but his whining is interrupted by Team Rocket blabbering about human trafficking or something. Time to go take on Rocket HQ in Celadon. We return to the big city and head straight to the terraced sewer lair. We storm the place, beat up all the trainers, and finally decide to evolve our Whimsicott into its final form. It looks magnificent. Oh, and Farinch, he evolved too. He isn't nearly as magnificent looking though, let's be real. Until we reverse his fusion, that is, and he turns out looking cool as hell. We also catch ourselves in On Edge, marvel at the Rocket's ability to construct insane infrastructure on the budget of something that basically is just like ISIS, and then come face to face with the big boss man himself. Osama bin Giovanni. The Italian mafia / gang / terrorist leader leads with Espeon Bulbasaur, and we lead the mighty phallic frame known as Chardos. A single fire punch is enough to kill. Gliscor Galvantula is next, who takes us down to half health, but is also one shot, this time by an Aqua Tail. Leafeon Apom is last, who is cleaned up easily with another fire punch. The Rockets, they might have big brain infrastructure, but we have big dick Chardos right next to us. We laugh at the poor boomer, grab ourselves a Silk Scope, and head out, setting our sights on the run's next challenge, Erica. Erica leads with Grovyle Alakazam, and we lead with Clefairy. We outspeed and hit with a crit fire punch, one Mon down. Victory Bell Slowbro is next, who eats up a fire punch fairly well and hits back with a headbutt, doing about a third. Erica withdraws Victory Bro the following turn and sends out Leafeon Pupitar, who takes massive damage from our fire punch. She heals up with a hyper potion, but we just keep spamming attacks, taking it out a couple of turns later. Victory Bro comes back out almost at full health again after Regenerator healing. We hit another Fire Punch, bringing it deep into yellow, but Bro pops its Citrus Berry to heal even more. We're hit back with another Headbutt, bringing us below half. We stay in, risking the crit, and survive another Headbutt, KOing it the next turn. Erica tried out some smooth-ass moves with Regenerator, but it blew up in her face when she gave me what was basically a free KO. We even add insult to injury by watching Clefmelion evolve after the battle right in front of her face. Clearly, Erica has hit rock bottom. Insert woman gamer joke here. Badge number 4 belongs to us. On the way out of town, we grab our Game Corner encounter, which turns out to be an Oddish. We fuse it and our previous encounter on Edge, giving us 2 pretty awesome looking fusions. Not exactly the typings that we're currently looking for, but power in the PC, I'll say it a million times. It's a good thing. We head back east to Lavender and begin our Pokemon Tower climb. We bash our way through all the creepy old zombie ladies, or are they ghost ladies? Possessed grandmothers, phantom females, demon broads, I don't know. We kill their pets regardless. We grab a Girafarig on the way up to the top of the tower and even see a few evolutions. The first being that of the great and mighty Growroth into the mightiest of kings, aka Grow King. Second, we see Chardos evolve into Chardos 2.0, who is also quite mighty himself. We easily dispatch of the ghost of the tower, a Lucario Dragonair, and finally reach Mr. Fuji at the top of the tower. He gives us the Pokeflute and on with the run we go. We grab both Snorlax encounters 1 and 2, which were both Chandelure, along with a Murkrow in the Hidden Forest, a Dunsparce on Cycling Road, and a Shelder on Route 15. We fuse them all up, and I've gotta say, I am a huge fan of this Squirtle Murkrow. Also, Grow King reaches his final form in the process of catching all these encounters, achieving the almighty stature of Sep King. We get our new king and all the other boys and girls to the level cap of 37, stroll into Fuchsia with the biggest dick imaginable, and head straight for the gym. Koga, the infamous otaku cosplayer. A man who believes himself to be a ninja but sits around all day playing Pokemon. Fucking based. He leads Raticate Gloom and we lead Chardos. 2 Fire Punches are enough to take Ratum down, but we do take a Super Fang in return, putting us at half health. Miltank Arbok is out next and yikes. Yeah, thanks, I hate it. We bring it down below half with an Aqua Tail, and it misses Zen Headbutt. Now that we've done a big chunk of damage, we decide to switch out to Vibraligator. We're forced to eat a Zen Headbutt on switch, but it only does 22 HP damage. We KO Milbok the following turn with an Earthquake. Shedinja Roserade is next, and I'm not sure on its typing or if it even has Wonder Guard, so we switch back to Chardos and pick up the guaranteed KO with a Fire Punch. Last but not least, Koga's ace is Regigigas Beedrill. Thank God it still has slow start, or this thing could have been a monster to deal with. We smack it with a Fire Punch and it sets up a layer of toxic spikes. Although we're quite low health, we're confident enough to stay in, as slow start absolutely nerfs this thing into the ground. It does eventually bring us into the red, but we just spam attacks at it and it goes down in a few turns. Koga might be a talented cosplayer and a general autist, but he's nowhere near our level in Pokemon. Badge number 5 belongs to us. We leave the gym and head straight to the Savari Zone. We run through it quickly, catching a Lairon as our encounter and snag up the Surf HM. We teach it to Vibraligator and head straight to Saffron afterwards. Saffron Rocket HQ is the official transition into the mid-late game, and because of this, we decide to take a look at our team. So far, we've gotten by unscathed, but we have had our close moments where one miss or a simple sleep powder may have changed the course of the entire run. We knew from the start that balancing the team while only having an influx of grass, water, fire types was gonna be tricky, but now that our level cap is fairly high, we can experiment a bit. We keep Sepking, Litreon, Chardos, and Vibraligator on the team, but we replace Clefazard with Pidgeot Raichu and replace Whimsichu with Magneton Blaziken. We teach the new teammates a few TMs and then head right into Rocket HQ. We bash through all the low-level grunts with ease and gain so much easy experience that we even get to watch Litreon and Vibraligator evolve, and they both look fantastic. We finally make it to the final length of the dungeon, getting gifted a Klinklang for our troubles. We take the teleporter to the boss's floor and are very rudely interrupted by everyone's favorite and/or hated starter, Charizard. Rival Charizard leads with Kyogre Badoo? And we lead with Chardos. We only take neutral damage from water here, so we decide to take this opportunity to set up two, not one, but two Dragon Dances. We dodge a paralysis from Body Slam, and now that we're +2 attack, we proceed to absolutely demolish his entire team of Haidu, Stigron, Duraz, Cordine, and Warmeleon. All of them dead, gone. No one cares, bye-bye. They gave this man a legendary, and he still couldn't touch the almighty girth of Chardos. I'd say I'm surprised, but I'm not. Rival Charizard heals our team up and joins us to take on Rocket HQ's final boss. Giovanni leads Cubone Roserade and Breloom Tentacruel. We lead Chardos once more for that great Mighty Intimidate and Girth, and our rival leads his Kyogre Badoo. The Cruel targets our rival with a heavy-hitting Seed Bomb, and we take the opportunity to absolutely nuke Q-Raid with an Aqua Tail, picking up the one-shot. Kaidu throws out an Ice Beam, taking Cruel down below half. Giovanni sends out Mamoswine Lopunny next. Listen, I don't want to see a single comment down in the comment section about this thing, okay? Not a single one. Kaidu is then taken out by a Thrash instantly. We're hit by Cruel's Seed Bomb, doing just about half. We hit Mam Money with an Aqua Tail, but it only does about a third of its health. Our rival sends out Stigron next, which has horrible matchups here. What are you doing, bud? We're kind of sweating a bit at this point because obviously, so we make the switch to Lampreon. Giovanni uses a max potion on Cruel, bringing it back to full health, and Mam Money continues its thrash, this time hitting Stigron, who, luckily, takes barely any damage from it. Stigron goes for Rock Slide, doing a bit of chip damage to the Cruel, but missing Mam Money completely. We decide to take this fight slow and safe, so we go for Will-O-Wisp. Mam Money wastes a turn with After You, and Stigron hits it back with a super effective Rock Slide. Cruel chips the Stigron a bit and we burn it back with Willow. The rest of the fight was basically just us methodically neutering Giovanni's team with burns from Willow, while we allowed our rival to dish out the damage. Giovanni's last mon is Absol Ampharos, but it doesn't put up much of a fight at all. Giovanni falls in defeat once more, although it was a bit harder than last time, actually requiring some thought and strategy this time around. We're gifted an Abra for our heroic victory over terrorism. We collect our free Master Ball and set to the task of preparing for our next challenge, Sabrina. We head to the Saffron police station to tell the boys in blue about our solo victory over the terror plot that they did nothing about, and they just kind of give us a life orb. I was really expecting a fucking parade, maybe no more taxes for the rest of my life, something like that, but you know how the NYPD are. We hit up the PC and fuse our last two encounters, making Klinklang Chikorita and Abra Cyndaquil. They could look better, but I'm definitely excited about Abquil, as it's definitely a strong mon to have in reserve. And with that, we head to the gym, power our way through all the grunts, and stare Sabrina in the eye. It's time to fuck this teenager up. Sabrina leads Wobbuffet Ferrothorn, and we lead Lampreon. We burn it with Will-O-Wisp right away, and it sets up an Ingrain for healing. Luckily for us, this thing kept its Iron Barbs ability instead of Shadow Tag, so we're able to make the switch to the powerful, girthy goodness known as Chardos. Wobbuthorn continues using setup moves like Iron Defense as we get 2 Dragon Dances off, easily KOing with our boosted stats 2 turns later. Lugia Yanma is next, who practically explodes when we hit it with an Aqua Tail. Duosian Tangrowth comes out and we slap it silly with a super effective Fire Punch. Sabrina's ace is Nidorina Latios. We go for yet another Aqua Tail, but we finally get punished by a miss, taking a hefty chunk in return from a Zen Headbutt. Another one of those will certainly kill, so we make the swap to Lampreon, and it's a free switch because he goes for Zen Headbutt again, which we are immune to. A Will-O-Wisp into a Hex is more than enough to take the Nidos down, securing our victory. Even with the power of Latios and Lugia on her side, Sabrina just didn't have enough IQ to put together any kind of threat to our team. Once again, I'd say I'm surprised, but I'm really not. She's a teenager. Gen Alpha, you say? More like Gen Beta, am I right? Sabrina defeated. Badge number 6. Hours. Before heading west towards Cinnabar, we have a couple of errands to run. We beat up on the fighting gym's trainers for a free encounter and are rewarded with another Giraffary. We also visit Saffron's train station as we can now take a quick ride over to the Goldenrod's department store to grab some elusive evolution stones. We use one of these stones, a Dusk Stone specifically, on Lampreon to see it reach its final boss form of Chandarion. He gains a candle mustache. Boys and girls, look at this distinguished little gentleman. We also backtrack to the power plant where we can grab an item with Surf now that it's available to us in the overworld. That item is a magnet stone which we immediately use to evolve our Magneton Blaziken into a beautiful looking final form. Now that we're done our chores, we run back to Fuchsia and head towards Cinnabar Island. We have a ton of opportunities for new encounters to snag up on the way there, but only end up with an Axu and a Snubble, as everything else we found was a duplicate, and we're playing no dupes because that's what the kings do. We arrive on Cinnabar Island excited for some tropical vacation time. We start our vacation off the same way anyone would start off a vacation, by checking out the local science lab. We've collected a couple of fossils along our adventures and take the time now to trade them in for some encounters. Turns out we were carrying around a Zorua and a Roserade. We also have a free encounter on Cinnabar, this Absol over here, which randomizes into a Copagrigus. Last but not least, we run into a Smoochum in the Burn Mansion. We continue through said mansion, meeting very little resistance, and scoring a Heracross for our static encounter Magmar. We run into Blaine in the basement, being weird as fuck all alone in the corner. I don't know what you're up to, but we demand he gets his ass back to the gym to face our challenge. He agrees, just happy for someone to want to talk to him, and we prepare for our 7th gym battle. Blaine leads Flareon Charmeleon and we lead the ever fearsome Chardos. This is a fantastic matchup for us, so we decide to do the same thing that we've done in the last few crucial battles. Set up the girth. We get 2 Dragon Dances off in exchange for just 32 of our HP, and we one-shot Flameleon on turn 3. Magmar Tentacruel comes out, who goes down to just 2 Thunder Punches. Arcanine Lopunny is next, and boys, once again, I am asking you not to leave comments about this thing in the comment section, please. I have barely any hope left in society as it is, please. So, we smash it. We nail it. We Aqua Tail. We do an Aqua Tail. 1-hit KO. Ugh. Last but not least is Blaine's ace, Salamence Houndoom. We are confident that Aqua Tail will kill, but our hubris gets the best of us. We miss the Aqua Tail and are hit back with Foul Play at +2 attack and our already massive attack stat to begin with. I knew what was coming the second the text appeared on screen. Chardos is absolutely demolished, and we're left grieving our first loss of the run. The girth just isn't girthin' no more. We collect ourselves as much as we can and send out Flyligator. We eat a Foul Play and one-shot back with an Earthquake. More than 75% of the game without a single death. I was so sure we might make a perfect run happen. We're absolutely devastated. We salute Blaine for a job well done and collect our badge. 7 down, 1 to go. We leave the gym and head straight to the PC to lay our fallen comrade to rest. The carry of this run to this point has left us, and now we're left pondering what to do next. Our next challenge isn't gym number 8, but is instead the most powerful single fight in the game. We sit down and think about who could possibly replace Chardos. We fuse all our recent encounters and make sure everyone is evolved in order to take a look at every possibility. We run through our team's strengths and its weaknesses, and one name keeps coming to mind: Alalosion. Alakazam Typhlosion is a monster special attacker, and bringing Psychic onto the team for some coverage seems like a pretty great idea. We give him a calm mindset, slap a fire gem on him, and we're ready to finally confront the true late game. We follow the Rockets to Mount Ember, grabbing Yanma and Munchlax along the way as encounters, along with 2 eggs containing Pawniard and Bagon. The only one that we end up using is Bagon's fusion with Pikachu, but that's just a bit more of that trademark legacy foreshadowing. We bash our way through all of Team Rocket's grunts and finally approach the toughest challenge of any Infinite Fusion run: the legendary Tri-Fusion battle. Giovanni sends out his disgusting science experiment, and we lead with Ragiot. We target the Moltres head with a Thunderbolt, hoping to take one bird out before it can move, but we just barely miss out on the KO. Zapdos sets up Agility, and a combination of attacks from Moltres and Articuno takes our Ragiot down. We send out Flyligator next, hoping that Rock Slide can do some work. We go for it, and it takes out Moltres, brings Articuno to yellow, and does about a quarter to Zapdos. This, however, was a crucial mistake. I thought we were fairly in the clear, but I forgot about one thing. I forgot about Freeze Dry. Just one is enough to take Flyligator out with its 4 times damage. We are feeling the hurt here big time, but we're close to making it out of here alive. We send Chandrion out next, hoping to burn both birds over time. We hit a Willow on Zapdos first try and go for Hex the following turn, but Giovanni uses a full heal, meaning we barely do any damage at all. We go for Willow once more, but both birds attack this time. We take an Ancient Power from Articuno and a Discharge from Zapdos, bringing us down to 76 HP. We decide to stay in and go for Moonlight to recover HP, but I forgot about the agility that Zapdos set up. We're outsped by both the birds, who both attack us again. Ancient Power takes us to 49 HP, and at this point Discharge is bound to kill. It hits, we pucker our booty holes up, and Chandrion lives on 1 HP, baby! We heal back up to half health and continue spamming Moonlight turn after turn until we have enough health back to hit Zapdos with one more Hex, taking it out. We then make the switch to Alalosion, who easily cleans up Articuno. Victory! Oh, it's never tasted so sweet. We lost 2 of our better Mons in that fight, but it was worth it. The hardest single fight of the run has been conquered. Now, we have only the final endurance test left to defeat: the 8th badge to champion boss run. We leave the mountain and head back to Cinnabar. We have some thinking to do before taking on the final gym. We lost 2 main party members, which means our team is in a bit of disarray currently. We hit the PC, put Ragiot and Flyligator in the RIP box, and get to brainstorming. Ragiot was electric flying, and luckily for us, we have an easy 1-for-1 swap available to us. And funnily enough, it happens to bring more power to the team instead of less. Rayments, aka Raichu Salamence, joins the squad. Flyligator's water ground typing is a bit harder to replace, but our team has 0 water types currently, so we're more concerned about that half. That means that this Ferrothorn Feraligatr combo is a great fit for now, so we bring him along too. We head to Viridian City and enter the final gym, ready to take down Giovanni for the last time. We have come a long way. 3 crucial deaths, and the last 2 important fights has left us reeling, but we're confident in our ability to push through the pain. We stare Giovanni in his stupid eyes one last time and begin the fight for our final gym badge. Giovanni leads Zekrom Vibrava and we lead with the mighty King. We start out with a Leaf Blade hitting really heavy, bringing Zekva deep into the red. We're smacked back with a Hyper Beam in 2024. Absolutely wild. It does about a third. We take the free cooldown turn to slack off back to full health and go for a slash the following turn. Giovanni uses a full restore and keeps using them turn after turn until he runs out and we pick up the KO. An absolutely perfect opening for the boys. Graveler Rhyperior comes out next, who is completely nuked by a Leaf Blade. Arbok Torterra is next, and it is a shame to have to kill this thing because I absolutely adore this fusion. I think it's cool as fuck. But we hit a Leaf Blade into a Drain Punch regardless and pick up the kill. Electrode Garchomp is next, and a single Leaf Blade does the trick once more. Donphan Crocodile is Giovanni's ace, who hits us with an Intimidate on switch it. This means our Leaf Blade barely misses out on the KO this time around, and it hits us back with Foul Play. I get flashbacks of Chardos. I clench my butthole, but we only go into the yellow. Luckily for us, Giovanni wasted all of his healing early on, so one more Drain Punch is enough to take his final Mon down. It was a long road, ladies and gents, but we have finally made it. All 8 gym badges belong to us. We might have all the badges, but we have no time to waste. The ending of this run is finally in sight. It's time to take on the Elite Four, but one thing stands between us and that next challenge. Rival Charizard. We run to the west and confront him, ready to prove that we're prepared for the endgame. We lock eyes with Charizard and the fight begins. The rival leads with Absol Shuckle and we lead Magneken. We hit it with 2 Iron Heads, exchanging just a bit of chip damage for a KO. Typhlosion Primeape is next, and our steel fighting self wants absolutely none of that. We make the swap to Rymance for the Intimidate and take a Screech for our troubles. We use Fly the following turn, avoiding a close combat and one-shotting with it the next turn. Another Typhlosion is out next, this time fused with Voltorb. We are not scared of this thing at all though. The power of Rymance knows no bounds. We go for a crunch and end up picking up the one-hit KO. Mimikyu Shuckle is next, who survives a crunch and actually deals a decent amount of damage back with Play Rough. We KO with a second crunch, but we're down to just 53 HP after all the chip damage and after all the Life Orb recoil. Our rival's ace comes out next and we're far too low to chance staying in, so we swap to Feraligatr. We take a Flamethrower relatively well and go for a crunch the following turn. Blastmelion sets up a Skull Bash though, raising its defense, so crunch does barely anything. We stay in and resist the Skull Bash, however, and get some chip damage in via Iron Barbs. We take the chance to set up a Sword Stance as well, which lets us KO the next turn with Power Whip. We take a good amount of damage all in all, but our rival's last Mon is a little baby called Mr. Cute. We chuckle to ourselves while clicking Crunch, which picks up the Oko. Rival Charizard gets salty and runs off, as is tradition, and we begin our triumphant walk towards the Elite Four. The only thing standing between us and the run's final challenge is Victory Road. Luckily for us, it's an absolute cakewalk. We beat up some trainers, crushing everything in our path, and are rewarded with one final encounter before the Elite Four. And luckily for us, it's gonna be a monster. We start our fight with it, and it's been randomized into a Tyranitar. We catch it up, we leave Victory Road, and we're now even more confident in our victory. We arrive at the Indigo Plateau and hit the PC, where we fuse our new encounter with its starter next up, Totodile. The fusion is pretty damn derpy looking, can't lie, but upon reaching its final form, this thing is in an absolute class of its own. The tremendous power of Tyranligator can be felt for miles around. We add it to the squad, replacing Feraligatr in an almost perfect swap. We are finally ready. We have fought long and hard for this opportunity and have been justly rewarded for our struggle. It's time to show up. It's clutch o'clock, boys. It's time for our final challenge, the Elite Four. The final team that we're bringing for our sudden death showdown is as follows. Alakazam Typhlosion with Blaze. It's packing Flamethrower, Psychic, Calm Mind, and Recover. This thing can set up Calm Minds against the special attacker, recover off any damage taken, and then wipe through an entire team. Fire Gem gives us a boosted Flamethrower in case anything is stubborn enough not to die to Psychic. We had to lose Chardos to make room for this thing, but it was worth it, as it hasn't let me down yet. Next up, Raichu Salamence with Intimidate. This thing hits hard. Zing Zap, Crunch, and Fly give it stab options and the possibility to drop defenses, with Nuzzle as a fourth move to paralyze something while still chipping away at it. Life Orb means that we'll slowly be losing health, but that isn't too big of an issue when everything dies so quickly when put up in front of this thing. Third up, we have Tyrannolegator with Torrent, the newest member of the team and possibly my favorite. Rock Slide, Earthquake, and Surf deal heavy damage to just about any fusion out there. Ice Punch is there for coverage, and Rock Gem means that if I switch to this guy in order to get a super effective rock move off, the other Mon is dying. Every single time. Next up is the one and only Chandelure Umbreon with Flame Body. This thing's been with us since Viridian, and for good reason. Most of our team is hyper offensive, but this little guy brings it all together. With Hex, Will-O-Wisp, Thief, and Moonlight, this thing has the ability to slowly chip stuff down, neuter attack stats, take away healing items, and sustain its health total, all at the same time. With Rocky Helmet to add in even more chip damage, this thing can eat hits and be the most annoying member of our team to deal with. I fucking love this little guy, and you should too. At number 5, we have Magnezone Blaziken with Sturdy. This fusion took Blaziken from being one of my most hated Pokemon and fused it into one of my favorite Mons to ever use on a team. The secret? They made it not a furry. Seriously, Game Freak, it's that fucking easy. Learn. This thing packs Iron Head, Brick Break, Acrobatics, and Bulk Up. Fighting Gem gives Brick Break that extra boost to KO Mons, and Acrobatics for coverage hits hard after the gem is used. Bulk Up is great to use against physical attackers, especially with Magnekin's steel typing. This thing has come in clutch over and over again, and most important of all, it's no longer a goddamn furry. And last, but certainly not least, is the ever-powerful, the ever-mighty Sceptile Slacking with Overgrow, the lazy grass type, the Stoner King, Leaf Blade, Drain Punch, Slash, Substitute. We sub up, hit a Drain Punch or two, then spam Leaf Blades. Miracle Seed makes the Leaf Blades hit even harder. This thing is simple. There's a reason it carried us for most of this damn run. It blows Mons the fuck up. It sends them to the goddamn Shadow Realm. It's my new best buddy and my Blaze partner all in one. This thing fucks. This team is certainly quite the offensive build. It was bound to happen given that it's comprised entirely of starter Mons, but taking all the sustain I could, along with Chandelurion's bulk and incredible typing, leaves me quite confident in our ability to take home a W. We buy up some items, get our team organized how we want it, and take the final steps through those fateful doors. Boys and girls, there is no turning back now. It's do or die. As always, Lorelei is first, and we're absolutely dialed in for it. She leads Jinx Snorlax, and we lead Tyrannolegator. It's a perfect lead for us as we hit Rock Slide and pick up a quick and easy one-hit KO. Dodrio Weavile is next, and we repeat the process. We do take some chip damage this time, but it's another one-hit KO for the Gator. Venomoth Lapras is next. Hate to sound like a broken record, but one Rock Slide, one hit, one KO. Lorelei goes with Dugong Tauros next. It outspeeds us and lands a Swagger, making us hit ourselves for massive damage. We're forced to switch, so we go to Magneken. We're hit with a Thrash on the switch, which is far more powerful than I anticipated. We were thinking bulk up, but are forced to just go for damage instead. We're hit again with Thrash, bringing us into yellow, but a Fighting Gem boosted Brick Break is enough to grab the KO. Last out is Articuno Crobat, which I have to say, looks awesome. We don't like how low we are on HP, so we swap to Rhymax. Air Slash does barely anything to us, and Zing Zap is another easy one-hit KO. It may have seemed easy and like a total stomping, but in reality, it was just two offensive teams throwing haymakers at each other. One missed attack, one wrong move clicked, one misplaced switch, and some real damage could have been done to the team. Luckily for us, we know what we're doing. One trainer down, 4 more to go. The ever menacing Bruno is up next. The man is a monster. I have no idea how good his Pokemon team is, but god damn it, just look at this man. This dude fucks a lot. Bruno leads Machamp Klinklang, and we lead the mighty Stoner King himself. We decide to sub up to scout what McClang's planning, and he ends up going with Discharge, which doesn't break our substitute. We hit a Drain Punch the following turn, healing us to full, and take another pitiful Discharge. Bruno proceeds to waste full restores for a couple of turns as we spam Drain Punch. Bruno swaps when he runs out of healing, bringing in Cloyster Poliwrath. Drain Punch does about a quarter damage. Although it could tank a punch, can it tank a blade? Yet no, it can't. Cloyrath gets absolutely nuked. Golbat Breloom is out next. It's not a great matchup for us, but we're still behind a sub, so we throw a slash at it. We're hit back with an air slash, which does break our sub this time. We do stay in though, as we outsped last turn and finish it off with another slash. Kangaskhan Monferno is Bruno's last Mon, with only the earlier McClang left after, and we're not threatened even a little bit. We go for a sub, and Kanga ends up going for Sucker Punch. It's absolutely free, ladies and gents. We take the Sucker Punch the next turn, but it doesn't even break our sub. We take it deep into the red with a Drain Punch, recovering to full HP. Bruno swaps Kanga out the next turn, bringing McClang again into the fray. I mean, all right, man. Thanks for the free KO, I guess. Was it some kind of grand strategic endeavor, maybe? No, Kanga out again. All right, man. We KO the Kanga with a Drain Punch for the victory. I am known in these videos for making women gamer jokes, but damn it, Bruno, you really just gave me the win there at the end. Insert Bruno is a woman joke here. 2 fights down. 3 to go. Agatha's old ass is waiting for us in the next room. I've got to say, anyone else ever just kind of get slight sexual undertones from Agatha before? No? Just me? Yeah, I was kidding. She leads with Darkrai Banette, and we lead with the power of Rhymax. It goes for Snatch, basically wasting its turn, and we hit with a Crunch, bringing it into the yellow. Agatha uses her full restores over the next couple of turns, healing it back up, before we take it down by spamming moves. It doesn't do any damage to us, but the Life Orb recoil does, so we end at about half health. Houndoom Misdreavus hits the field. We're not feeling fantastic about our health total, especially considering this is our Intimidate user, so we make the swap to Chandorion. We go for a Will-O-Wisp for some residual damage, but this thing has Flash Fire. Oops. We go for Hex, hoping that maybe we can just kind of beat this thing down over a few turns, but it throws a Flamethrower at us, which is now boosted by Flash Fire. It brings us down from 130 HP to 80. We stay in, risking the crit, I know, but we do get off a Moonlight to heal up. We Moonlight again the following turn, and then hit it with 2 hexes in a row to finally pick up the KO. Dusk Noir Nidoqueen comes out next. We burn it with Willow, and it hits us with a Shadow Ball, bringing us into the very low yellow. We are outspeeding it though, so we go for Moonlight again as it hits us with a Hex. We hit it back with our own Hex, boosted in power by the burn. It does huge damage, and we pick up another KO. Agatha's second last mon is Mimikyu Victory Bell. Expecting a physical set, we stay in. Mimabell sets up Hone Claws, which means our Will-O-Wisp is the perfect answer. It hits us with a Play Rough the following turn, and thank God we landed that Willow, because even through the burn, it does a good chunk of damage. We opted for Hex though, which hits heavy and takes Mimabell out. Giratina Gloom is Agatha's last mon. This thing is ugly, but no doubt it has power. We make the swap to Magnecan, hoping for a poison move, but get hit hard with a Hex instead, which does almost half. We go for Acrobatics, hoping it's a grass type, but it is not. Acro does barely anything. Giraloom hits another Hex, bringing us dangerously low into the red. We're on the ropes a bit here as we make the switch to the mighty Sepking. This time our prediction is correct and we're immune to Giraloom's Hex. Leaf Blade isn't very affected, but it still chunks Gira for a third of its health. All it has to hit us with at this point is Petal Blizzard, which practically tickles the mighty frame of Sepking. We spam Leaf Blades at it until it inevitably dies. Now that was a fucking fight. Are you guys seriously still not picking up sexual undertones at this point? Really? I mean, I guess I'm weird. The old broad has my respect at least. 3 down, 2 to go. Lance. What's that spell? Autism. If there is one man that could possibly out-autism me, the dad of Pokemon, it's the dude that wears a fucking cape in public. Our hardest challenge yet. May the spectrum guide me. Lance starts out with Chandelure Dragonair, and we lead with the Gator. We go straight for the gem-boosted Rock Slide and just barely miss out on a KO. We're hit back with Dragon Rush, doing about a third of our health. We go for Earthquake to finish it off, but Lance heals up with a full restore first. This repeats the next turn before the kill is finally grabbed the following turn. Latias Skiploom comes out next, and the Gator's Rock Water type ass wants nothing to do with any grass moves. We swap out to Ryments and chew up a Giga Drain like it was our job, because it is. We go for Fly, avoiding a Dragon Pulse, and just miss the KO when it connects the next turn. Between the Life Orb, chip damage, and the Psychic Lataloom hits, we're down to 92 HP. We finish it off the next turn with a Crunch. Lance sends out Zekrom Grovyle next. We're not sure that we're going to be able to pick up the one-hit KO on this thing, and we're pretty low on health, so we switch to Magnecan, hoping for a Dragon move. Our prediction is correct, and we tank a Dragon Claw on the switch with very little effort, even with it being a crit. We take the chance to bulk up and KO with a gem-boosted Brick Break the next turn. Next up is Latias Nidoqueen hitting the field, and this thing looks like a threat. Since we have a bulk up on our side, we stay in and go for Iron Head. We're outsped though, and get hit with a massive superpower. Magnecan holds on, but just barely, now deep in the red. We hit back hard with that Iron Head, but we miss out on the KO. We switch to Chandorion, and we're immune to the Psychic from Latiqueen on the switch. A Hex the next turn grabs the kill. Lance's last mon is Latios Aegislash. Threat after threat after threat with this kid. Damn, is he ever autistic? We stay in, hoping to burn it with Willow, and are forced to eat a Dragon Pulse, bringing us down to half. We do land that Will-O-Wisp though, which is a plus. We stay in and risk the crit, hoping that Hex will KO after the burn. Dragon Pulse lands again, and bless our souls, no crit comes through. Hex deals massive damage back, picking up the KO and the victory. Lance put up a damn good fight and caught us off guard a few times there. I expected nothing less from the king of autism himself. We pay our respects and move on to the final challenge of the run. One last battle. Do or die, victory or defeat. Can we finally topple the most iconic starter Pokemon, with all of Game Freak's favoritism behind it? With all the Gen 1ers screaming, it's time to find out. We meet Charizard's stare and return it. The time has come for this run to end. Our rival leads Crobat Bisharp, and we lead Alalosion. we go straight for a gem boosted, super effective stab flamethrower. That, ladies and gents, is a lot of modifiers. No surprise here, it's a one-hit KO. Next out is Blastoise Dusknoir, which is a horrible matchup for us. We make the swap to Ryments and Blastnoir misses a Hydro Pump. Gotta love a free switch. We go straight for Zing Zap, and with Life Orb boosting it, it's enough to KO. Dodrio Zapdos is sent out next. It's a fairly even matchup, both of us being electric flying, so we decide to get some damage on this thing via a Zing Zap. It brings it down to the yellow, but also hits us back with a discharge that brings us to yellow as well. Our rival uses a full restore the next turn as we stay in for another zap. He has a ton of full restores available, and if we stay in and spam attacks, Life Orb Recoil is going to take us out. However, the problem is absolutely nothing on our team loves being matched up against this thing. So we decide to stay in and just spam attacks. After using 2 full restores, our rival decides not to heal, so we get to take Dodos out without losing Ryments. We're just holding on with 18 HP though. Our rival's ace Blastazard comes out to face Ryments next. Once again, nothing on our team wants to take a free Hydro Pump or Fire Blast from this thing. So we decide to stay in and hit a Zip Zap. It hits, and lo and behold, it absolutely annihilates Blastazard. And we even hold on after recoil with just 2 HP left. Flygon Slowking is the rival's second last Mon, so we decide to finally let Ryments rest. He did his job and then some. We send out Sepking, who dodges a Dragon Rush on the switch. Never underestimate a Stoner's dexterity in dire situations. We hit a Leaf Blade the following turn, and Flygon crumbles before the might of it. Bellossom Gyarados is rival Charizard's last Mon, and boy oh boy does it look derpy. But we do not take that derpiness lightly. Leaf Blade is neutral against this thing, but we go for it nonetheless. It picks up a massive critical hit, finishing Beldos off in a single hit. Winning the Nuzlocke run with the absolute carry by our side, celebrating by lighting a spliff and eating munchies? I couldn't ask for a better ending, boys. The run is over. We have conquered all who have dared oppose us. Rival Charizard admits defeat, coming to terms with the fact that perhaps he now will not be given a Mega Evolution in Pokemon Legends Z. Professor Oak shows up, informs us that instead of Mega Charizard, maybe they'll give us what we all really want, Mega Metapod. We rejoice in the name of the Megapod and head to the back room. It's always a great feeling to bring a starter Pokemon all the way to the Hall of Fame, but 6 of them? I highly suggest you give it a try, because this feeling, it's unmatched. And that, ladies and gents, was our starters only Infinite Fusion Hardcore Nuzlocke. This one took a lot more time than I was hoping, but the run itself was just absolutely awesome the whole way through. I had a ton of fun, and I hope you guys did too. Do not forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Tell your friends if they're into this kind of thing. It helps the channel out so much, and I would love to push to grow the channel as much as possible this year. We're so close to monetizing. I can taste it, boys. I can taste it. I want to continue making these videos, so positive feedback is an easy way to keep me motivated through all these hundreds of hours of writing scripts and editing and doing all the lame stuff on the back end. Oh, and do not forget to comment to tell us what kind of a run we should do next time. I'm always open to suggestions. I've got a lot of ideas to do. Until next time, boys and girls, have a good day, a good night, whatever it may be, and may the Megapod bless us all.